Yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Happy Friday. We've done another week. Congratulations. We've got the weekend ahead of us. And maybe we'll sign someone? Question mark. Who knows? Who knows? Obviously, we play Stade Rennais tomorrow. I think it's live on the West Ham YouTube channel. So it's Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. And our first story relates to that somewhat. As apparently, and we've spoken about this gentleman before, Adrien Truffert, or Truffert. Apparently, us and Nottingham Forest are among the clubs chasing the left back, who managed 7 assists from 36 games last season for Stade Rennais, the former club of Naif Aguerd, who he would play next to, because Naif was on the left-hand side of the back too. So he played next to him, his mate. The 21-year-old's form has caught the attention of several clubs elsewhere. According to RMC Sport, West Ham, Forest and Real Sociedad are all very interested in signing the defender. The French international's deal ends with Stade Rennais in 2025, and it's claimed that the League side have offered a 1-year extension to his agent. The report goes on to state the player hasn't decided so far on whether to accept the club's renewal offer or decide to make a switch elsewhere. His decision is now awaiting a decision, to be honest. Over at L'Equipe, they explain that talks are already underway between Rennes and the player for his renewal until 2026. So whether he's already decided or he's already negotiating, we don't know. The paper also states that West Ham and Nottingham Forest are preparing an offer to sign the fullback. On yesterday, Futo Mercato stated Forest have identified Truffert as a priority target for their left-back position. And then later that day, Le Parisien reported West Ham have been following the Frenchman for a while and have also maintained contact with his entourage throughout the whole process. Obviously being kept aware of what's happening with the Truffert entourage, the agents and various whatnot. So apparently the suitors to Adrien and the club itself, Stade Rennais, are waiting for his final decision by the sounds of it in terms of what he wants to do. That may have, and again, I'm just putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 4. Obviously, the news yesterday, and we spoke again at lunchtime today about Aaron Cresswell's move to Wolves being off. Obviously, the belief is Wolves can't afford the money, which is partly true, I believe, but maybe because of the protracted, obviously, maybe Truffert is one of the guys they want, and they don't want to sell Cresswell or put anything, or assume he's going until maybe Truffert's in the bag potentially, or maybe it's he's going to be purchased next season, for example. And so keeping Cresswell for his 1-year deal makes sense potentially. I don't know, but just trying to sort of make some sense of what's going on at West Ham at the moment. Whether that's wise or not, I do not know. Another player we are in with, and we know quite heavily we're linked to, is a Southampton captain and England international midfielder James Ward-Prowse. Obviously, we've had one bid for him, around £25 million, rejected by Southampton. But according to TalkSport, West Ham are preparing a second offer for the Southampton midfielder. I think it was yesterday, the sporting director of Southampton, Jason Wilcox, former Blackburn winger, I believe, if I can remember correctly, told the Sun that the club were not in a rush to sell, and he was quite saying, if we get the right offer, we will consider it. Consider is an important word because we don't have to sell. We're a big football club. We're not going to allow players to leave if we don't feel it's a win-win. So after those comments, and the valuation apparently is around £40 million they put on JWP's head, which seems a bit excessive, but then we put £105 million on a he should not be name's head anyways. But despite relegation, it's clear that Southampton will, aren't going to be rolled over and they're sticking to their guns in this transfer saga. Also, Romeo Lavella is, apparently linked with Liverpool and several other Premier League clubs as well. So maybe they don't want to lose both midfielders, maybe. While, you look at Leeds and Leicester, they're pretty much seen themselves cleared out by rival clubs, particularly Leicester. Obviously, Harvey Barnes, Iheanacho's gone, James Maddison's gone, amongst others. So it seems that Southampton are maybe financially are quite set. We know that JWP doesn't have a relegation clause in his contract, board accounts. Otherwise, he'd already been off ski in my eyes. So reports that West Ham are preparing a second bid, showing they're willing to play the game and are still keen on signing JWP and securing his services. I mean, a second bid shows it's more serious than just a speculative bid for JWP. And you can understand why. He's a free kick specialist. As I said, he's got one more free kick goal to score in the Premier League to take over David Beckham in terms of all-time record for Premier League free kick goals. And, he's been a consistent performer, 300 plus Premier League games, 28. He could unlock the issues we've had with set plays. And which is ironic because by all accounts, Moyes wants to deviate away from being known as a set piece side. But sometimes if you set up one way, you should play that way. And that's the difference, I think, from last year to the season before. I don't think the football had changed completely in terms of the style of football, but we weren't scoring the goals from free kicks, from corners, those types of things. So it was more evident how probably one-dimensional we were as a side. So at least with someone like JWP in, we could probably, maybe Suchek can get back to grabbing 8, 9, 10 goals from corners and free kicks and crosses from JWP, potentially. But we'll see. Let me know. I mean, we've had a little debate on our WhatsApp chat. 40 million, I think, is I don't think we'll pay 40 million pounds for him. I think, it seems a bit excessive for a 28-year-old in my eyes. But then again, I was happy to pay 40 million for someone like João Paulinho, for example. But maybe it's a style of football that JWP does that I don't think 40 is a lot. I thought it's too much for me. I think 25 was reasonable. Less than 30, I think, is a good deal. But let me know if how much is the max for JWP you'd pay. Be interested to know and see if it works if we get him. But we'll see. But there is a second bidding upcoming apparently. And lastly, a player we've been linked with quite heavily is the Real Betis Italian international. We say Italian international. He's played like one game for Italy. Felipe from Real Betis. Now, apparently, according to an article in El Desmarque, they're claiming that Real Betis are growing tired of West Ham's antics and in terms of West Ham promising to make a bid. We'll promise we'll bid for you, honestly. But it's claimed that Real Betis were confident that West Ham were going to sign the 26-year-old international for around £17 million. And nothing has happened since that initial conversation, by all accounts. I mean, the player himself is solid. He's tenacious. He's got aggression. He's a bit like, he's sort of a modern day Thomas Repka, maybe. He's got that sort of, he loves. I think got sent off 3 times last year in La Liga, and loves to tackle. So he would probably become a fan favorite, because he has that sort of about him. But in my opinion, this was like a holding signing. I think, we definitely promise we're going to buy you, and then they were looking for other options. And obviously, someone like Taylor Howard-Bellis from Man City is a better option, I think. And he's a couple million quid cheaper, a lot more potential as well, homegrown as well. And hopefully, if we get this Carlos Borges deal over the line, we can then follow that up with the Taylor Howard-Bellis, because I think he would be very, very good for us. So if we miss out on the 26-year-old Italian international, I'm not going to be crying. I'm not going to be crying in my Friday night kebab. But it's just funny how they're getting tired of us as well as the fan base are getting tired of West Ham's lack of transfer activity as well. And that's it, my friends. Hope you have a lovely weekend. Rest of the Friday, enjoy it, and hopefully we'll have a decent run out against Stade Rennais later on tomorrow. And any breaking news we'll bring to you on the West Ham Network as always. But don't forget to check out kumb.com as well. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Keep the faith, my friends. Keep the faith, my friends. Come on, you bloody Irons. Irons.